Hey, would you happen to know if it's still Thanksgiving or not? Because when it comes to Vancouver Canucks GM Patrik Allvin, it appears that he's still hungry. Let's follow up all that we talked about yesterday in regards to the Vancouver Canucks Nikita Zadorov trade and why everything was able to go down the way it did. We'll also talk about where the Canucks go from here and what other moves they could be exploring still. So, let's start out with this tweet made by Darren Dreger, tweeting out that Rick Tocchet likes big physical D. Oh yeah, great sentence there, Darren Dreger. He certainly gets a big physical D in that Zadorov trade. The Flames didn't have to retain any salary and they create cap flexibility by making this move. Many around the league are surprised at the level of the return. Now, let's just do a little bit of a refresher. I know it was yesterday, but still, just in case you needed the scoop here, the Vancouver Canucks sent over a third-round pick as well as a fifth-round pick in order to acquire this defenseman from the Calgary Flames. Canucks are playing Calgary tomorrow, so we'll see how exactly that matchup goes. The Canucks should have made this trade tomorrow, honestly. Like, do the old switcheroo where Zadorov literally just walks over to the opposing locker room and joins his buddies under Dan Milstein Gold Star in Andrei Kuzmenko and Ilya Mikheyev. But either way, Darren Dreger goes out there and says this, that a number of teams did express interest in Zadorov. They all needed Calgary to retain, though, and the Flames were not interested in doing that. Perhaps waiting longer could have driven the return up to a second, but cap flexibility in the short term is valuable as well. So, because the Vancouver Canucks traded away Anthony Beauvillier, it opened up $4.1 million of cap space on their books, and Nikita Zadorov is making $3.7. So, there you go, full salary on. The contract does expire at the end of the year, and so we'll see the Vancouver Canucks most likely go out there and try to re-sign, get something done with Zadorov and his agent. Again, it's Dan Milstein, the Gold Star guy. So, everything that we had seen with Mikheyev, Kuzmenko, we're gonna have another repeat here under Vancouver, but either way, it's becoming Russian City here with the Vancouver Canucks. But that may not just be it, because when it comes to what exactly the Canucks are also interested in doing, we had ourselves a Donnie and Dolly segment from earlier today going over the entire scoop. I'll leave a link in the description to this video wherein Rick Dhaliwal goes out there and talks about the content. It's talking about Zadorov, it talks about how the Canucks were able to get the trade done, how Vancouver was actually a destination that one defenseman, Chris Tanev, thought he would be traded to. That's a really interesting part of the video that is talked about, but because of all the rumors surrounding Chris Tanev and his $4.5 million a year till the end of 2024, apparently Tan Man thought that Vancouver would be one of the main teams going after him and or that he would have actually gotten sent back. Dhaliwal goes out there and says in this video that Chris Tanev is still a potential option for Vancouver, depending on what happens on July 1st. If Chris Tanev goes to free agency, if he goes to the market, and depending on what the Canucks cap situation looks like at that time frame. Now, I know there are a lot of people going out there saying, oh, Chris Tanev is a little older, he is not the same guy like he was a few years ago, and that's totally a fair perspective. But we'll leave it to the Vancouver Canucks to go out there and assess what Tan Man is and whether or not that's actually valuable to their team in the moment. We also had a few extra ideas that I thought were interesting to toss out there because Dhaliwal also says on this video that Ethan Bear is one defenseman that Vancouver may still be trying to target here. He labels the price of maybe about $1 million or so. He says that there are a bunch of other teams that are also going after Ethan Bear. But you had yourselves other insiders saying this. This is Elliot Friedman from 32 Thoughts Today. I don't necessarily think the Canucks are done looking for D, and I still think they have interest in Ethan Bear, who is skating right now. And even though the Canucks aren't the only team looking at Bear, I do like their chances, provided they get to a number that Bear likes. Ethan Bear, if you may remember, only became a free agent because he had surgery and he had recovery. Not because he was a bad player, not because the Canucks didn't need him, but more so because the Canucks just couldn't afford to go out there and sign a guy to be on their LTIR. They wouldn't really benefit much from doing that. So Ethan Bear going over onto the free agent pool after a little bit It could be a pretty good rebound from his 16 points in 61 games last year with the Canucks. He has always been more of a sound defenseman in the Edmonton and Carolina systems. He was well-liked in Vancouver. He was very good. So this is another type of these players that if he hits the market and he's clear, he's healthy, he is totally fine, okay to go, there's going to be some value here. He's not going to be the most expensive guy in the world, but there will be teams going out there and coveting him, mostly because this is a player that is better than Noah Juulsen, he's better than Mark Friedman, he's better than Akito Hirose, Christian Willander, all the guys in the AHL that have the option of coming up and playing. Ethan Bear is indeed a better player in the short term than all of them. You could say the same thing about Zadorov. So if you wanted to talk about the Vancouver Canucks going out there and still being hungry, still thinking about other defensemen to go out there and catch, Ethan Bear, right up on that list. You could say Chris Tanev is on there too for next year and beyond. And you even had yourselves even more scoops. This is what Elliot Friedman also said. Ethan Bear is skating in Vancouver Canucks gear and colors. If he was mad, it would be hard to see him do that. Now, mad, I get it. You could say, wait, what are you talking about? Well, there's some ideas floating around debating whether or not Ethan Bear would have wanted to come back to Vancouver, which apparently, according to all the insiders, was a pretty likely outcome. And there was a question floating around asking, hey, because the Canucks traded for Nikita Zadorov yesterday, does that piss off Ethan Bear? Does that put him in a less desirable position to come back to Vancouver? Does he get scared off by Vancouver making a trade? And here's the thing, if you wanted to talk about decors, if you assume everybody is healthy, you assume that none of Ian Cole, Hronek, Hughes, or anybody else are going to miss any time, you assume that Carson Soucy comes back, then all of a sudden you have yourselves a decor of Hughes, Myers, Hronek, Zadorov, Cole, Soucy, Bear, and that looks really darn good. That is a list of 7 defensemen that are all capable of playing NHL minutes, and if you have at least one guy who needs to sub out for a little bit, if you want to try 11 forward 7D, if you get an injury here or there, then you have security to make things work out. Because Ethan Bear is an upgrade over all of these extra guys that the Vancouver Canucks have gotten in Friedman and Juulsen, in all the AHL guys too. You could debate he's maybe in that same tier of value as an Ian Cole, or maybe a little bit less than a Zadorov. Sure, there's a lot more wow, pizzazz, blocking, physical type of play that you see out of these guys, but still, when it comes to progressive, transitory results on paper, Ethan Bear is a really good one. He moves the puck up ice well. He is still an option for this team. Chris Tanev, if you wanted to say, is going to be a free agent, may also be on the cards as well, but we'll have to wait a year and see where that goes. He's just making a little bit too much money right now, $4.5 million for the Vancouver Canucks to feasibly go after him and actually have a productive conversation about that. So we'll see where Tanev ends up going. I don't think he ends off the season with the Flames, but for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Patrik Allvin still being hungry. Friedman, Dalibor, they're each saying it, that Patrik Allvin still wants to go after D, or that he may not be done looking for D. Rick Tocchet likes big D as well. Big physical D is what Darren Dreger said. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.